But what is interesting is, so there was a Wall Street Journal article that covered some comments from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, and what I think is interesting about it, he's basically making the case, talking about all of the spend and whether or not this is traditional enterprise spend.
Mhm.
He's basically making the case that every traditional enterprise now needs to be AI first. And frankly, I hate that terminology. It harkens back to the every company needs to be a software company, which I always thought was BS.
Mhm.
You know, that said, if you read, sort of get past the hype, he basically is making two primary points. The first is that AI is going to be most impactful when it's used for transformational activities, when it's used to sort of re-envision the way you're doing things. Wholeheartedly agree with that. And the second thing is he's making the case that organizations should be creating what he calls the AI brain. Again, hate the terminology, but this idea of effectively a big giant data repository or a graph database that is AI is mining to understand the context of how your individual enterprise operates and then uses it as an executional tool. That 100% agree with. And if that's what he means by AI first, I think that is interesting. And I think it is also interesting because it is, to a certain extent, counter to how most organizations, I think, are looking at leveraging AI today. Although I think it's starting to change, and we'll talk about some of that later.
Yeah. So ironically, Jensen Huang is basically talking about the vision of ERP. SAP, Oracle, and others have sold to us for such a long time. Having this brain of information that reflects what happens in our company from a data and process perspective, and perhaps taking it to the next level and providing some idea of the overall logic and strategic execution that is going on. But that is honestly the right idea for AI. We are looking for technology that helps us with our busy work. We're not looking for technology that replaces human insight at this point, because that simply is not the level that any technology we have really is at. Computers are fantastic, hyper computational technologies. They can do math a whole lot faster than we can, and they can come to conclusions a whole lot faster than we can, but they're not necessarily accurate or contextually correct. We still have to do a lot of work to figure out how to turn this into that, and that's okay. But we should be realistic about what AI actually is.
Yeah, I mean, what I appreciate with the AI brain concept, and it's something that I'm working on separately,
Mhm.
conceptually. Again, I don't like the term, but this idea of, it really connects with what Gen AI is good at, of synthesizing data that isn't structured, that we can't, stick a pin in and say this means that. It's really good at sorting that out with all the caveats that come with it, but it's really good at that. And so I think it's going to ultimately be, as we've talked about in the past on other episodes, this intersection of different forms of technology. But I think this idea of having this brain, or whatever you call it, as a sort of central repository is a heck of a way of thinking about it, because I think it gets you down that right path.
Yep.
Um, speaking